Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for What's New in Revit 2020 webinar. I'm very excited about this. We've been waiting for a little bit for this presentation, and here we are. A little bit announcement before we start. All the lines are muted so that we can just hear the presenter. This webinar is going to be recorded. Please send all your questions on the chat box, so that if we can answer the questions as we go along, we'll do it in writing, and if not, then the presenter will do it at the end. Also, if you have any questions, as usual, you can email us or call us during the presentation or at the end of the presentation, so we'll remind you about that later. Alfredo, can you change the slide?
Yep.
There you go. There you have the announcements. All attendee lines will be muted. Send us the questions via chat, and this is recorded. Okay, next slide. It is our pleasure to introduce you to our DDS CAD being Revit expert and instructor, Alfredo Medina. So without any more delays, Alfredo, take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Raquel. And welcome to all the attendees to this presentation. I hope it is useful. I have selected a dozen topics from the What's New in 2020. So let's begin. So this is our contact information. I will present the topics in this order: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, then structure, architecture, and general topics. So our first topic is related to MEP families. One of the new features or things that they fixed is something related to connectors. They said that a connector that was nested and was located in the center of the face, when the connector was nested into another family, the connector would move to the origin of the face. So they corrected that, but I see that in the process of correcting that, other things were fixed, such as now nested connectors can be used. They actually work, because before this version, nested connectors were useless. You could not select the connector. You could not create connect pipe or duct or conduit to a nested connector. And now all of these things are working. So let's see, let me go to Revit. So this is the case. This is a family, MEP family. If I open that family, now notice that you can have the same family with visibility settings for connectors, such as if you go to family types, you can have, let's say, 3 types of this family with different visibility for connectors. Suppose you have a very complicated family in which the only difference between the types is the location of the connectors. So now you can hide them and create different types without losing the connectivity of the connectors or the ability to create systems in the project. Let me load this into, let me go back to the project. Yeah, I was saying that families with nested connectors now can be used. They can be, they can create systems, and they can receive pipe, conduit, or duct. That was not possible before, or at least it was partially useful only. As a consequence of that same feature, if you have an adapted family that needs to be in a system, for example, let's suppose that this represents some kind of neon kind of lighting fixture Let me go to this elevation east. So suppose you have a family like this. Put this in coordination view. Suppose you have a family with adaptive points representing some kind of electrical fixture, right? Like this. In the adaptive template, it's not possible to select electrical fixture. But now, with the same idea or the same fix that they did to the hidden connectors, we can host a family here of the electrical fixture category. And now notice if I select that, I have the icon to create a circuit, an electrical circuit. I choose the voltage, click OK, and this family, even though it is adaptive, can be connected to an electrical panel and can be scheduled also as a lighting fixture, at least because of this portion. So that's good news that now nested connectors are useful, totally useful, because you can connect two circuits and you can connect conduit, pipe, etc. to the connector. Okay, let's go to the next one. Electrical. Here I'm going to mention three. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, options for multi-circuit home run arrows and options for the home run arrow style. Let's see. If I go to Revit, let me see which drawings do I have. Electrical 1, 2, 3. Yes, let me go to the power plan. The first feature is feed through lugs. Feed through lugs. It means that when a panel is fed by another panel, before Revit 2020, the panel that is being fed by the other would occupy a circuit in the panel schedule of the parent panel. For example, if I click on this panel and I go to electrical circuits, this panel, let's say, is going to be fed by P1. So I click on P1, right? So this panel feeds this one. If I go to the electrical panel schedule of this one, let's go to that panel. Notice that the P2 panel occupies one of the circuits of the P1, right? So this is something that can be changed or corrected so that the panel is fed by this other fixture. Let's undo that, select equipment or create circuit. And now let's do it again. I click on P2, I go to power, and then this is the new option. Instead of the default option breaker, now we have this new option, feed through lugs. When I do that, I get a message saying that, yes, we can do that, but the parent family needs to be enabled to do that. The parent family now has a parameter called feed through lugs that needs to be enabled. I can do it from this button. Notice when I go to the parent panel, I go to the properties of that panel, and now this is the new parameter, feed through lugs. is on. And now if I go to the panel schedule of P1, like this, now the other panel, P2, does not occupy any circuits. Okay, so this is a new feature that was probably requested by you guys, electrical engineers. Okay, let me go back to PowerPoint. The other option is options for multiple arrows for the home run. Let's see. This works like this. Suppose you have this, and this fixtures in a circuit that go to P1, right? And then I create wire for that. And then I have also this, and this fixture in another circuit, also going to P1. And then I click here to create the wire. So in some offices, instead of having multiple arrows going to the same panel, they like to do this. Notice here, I have 3 wires, 3 wires, 3 wires. So they like to do this, like to connect this arrow to this connector. Notice that now this one has 4 wires, 4 wires, 4 wires. But now there is a double arrow here, right? Double arrow. So the new feature here is simply options for these arrows. So you do that like this. Systems, electrical, and you go to wiring, and this is the new option. Arrow for multi-circuits home run, multiple arrows, or you can put single arrow, or these 2 other options. Multiple arrow on end wire only, or single arrow or on end wire only. So let me choose single arrow, click OK. And now that becomes a single arrow, even though is really representing these 2 circuits going to the same panel. The other option is in the same electrical settings window, is simply choices for the arrow itself, similar to the choices we have for leaders. So here I have arrow field 15 degrees. I have these other options, triangle field 30 seconds, heavy end, basically the same options that we have for leaders. So I'm going to choose this one, arrow field 20 degree, and that changes the style of the arrow. So that's an option that we didn't have before in Revit 2019. Let me go back to Revit. No, to PowerPoint, sorry. Okay, so we see that, we saw this, let's see. Okay, the other new feature in electrical, which applies not only to electrical, but to all these categories, is the elevation value of the fixture. Suppose that in all this floor plan, all the fixtures are mounted at 1'6" above finished floor, but you want to bring people's attention to some fixtures whose elevation is 4 feet. Before, we didn't have any way to add the elevation to a tag or to a schedule. And now we can do that with the new parameter. Let's go back to Revit. So let's say this fixture, the elevation from level is 1'6", but I want to put it at 4 feet. And I want, let's say this other fixture at 4 feet above finished floor level. Because there is a new parameter, now I can tag this elevation, this mountain height, like this, annotate, tag by category, and let me see which tag I have. This tag is the normal tag that reads the electrical circuit. So if I want to get the elevation, the mountain height, I can click on the tag, click on Edit Family. Let's do File, Save As, Family. Let's put here fixture with elevation above finished floor. So I take this label panel, go to Edit Label, remove panel, remove circuit number, and use the new parameter elevation from level. This is the new parameter we didn't have before. Elevation from level. And let's load this into project. I think is this one. Yeah. Do you want to save changes to the fixture? Yes. To the tag? Yes. Let's go to the power plan, and now let's change this to the new fixture with elevation above finished floor. And this is the new feature that we can tag the elevation above the level for not only electrical fixtures, but a long list of MEP families. Also, if we create a schedule, let me see if I have the schedule ready. Electrical fixture schedule. Notice this is the typical schedule. I can go to Fields, Edit, and now that new parameter is available, elevation from level. When I click OK, let me see, sorting and grouping, itemize every instance. There you go. So notice this fixture, 4 feet, and this one at 4 feet. So those are the exceptions. So these are new resources that we have. And again, this applies to all of these categories that I have on the left. Okay. For plumbing, there have been some changes to parameters. Before, when we were drawing a pipe, the elevation of the pipe was called simply offset, right? Offset. So now it is going to be named as middle elevation, right? Because now we have two new parameters for the pipe, top elevation and bottom elevation. These are two new parameters, and this one was renamed. If you need to put these parameters in a tag or in a schedule, you can have top elevation, bottom elevation, start middle elevation, and end middle elevation, right? For pipes with slope. So this is a new feature. The other feature related to this is that we can use those new parameters in filters. For example, here's an example of a view filter. It says, find all the elements that are either a duct with a bottom elevation greater than 8 feet, or pipes with an invert elevation greater than 8. So all this, or by categories, was not possible before. Let's see, let's go to Revit. And let's go to, let's say, mechanical. Let me see. So, for example, if I go to VG filter, let me remove this filter and let's go to edit new. So this is one example. I created a new filter called pipe or duct at certain elevation. Before, we could only find parameters that were common to different categories. For example, I used to click on ducts and pipes. Let's say ducts and pipes. Yes, pipes is selected. Before 2020, I had the choice to do or and filters based on only parameters that were common to both categories, pipes and ducts. Now I can select ducts from here, or pipes, or anything else that I select on this list. So this gives more flexibility for creating these rules. So in this case, I say ducts greater than 8 in bottom elevation, or pipes greater than 8 in the invert elevation parameter. So if I do that and I add the filter, this is the filter, and I say, once you find that, let's say paint all the colors, all those elements in a certain color, like this. So it's going to find pipes or ducts that comply with the rule. Also, notice what I was saying before. When you click on a pipe, now here, instead of offset, you have middle elevation. And you can also tag the bottom or top elevation of the pipes. Let's go to PowerPoint. Okay, for structural. In structural, there is a new package provided by Autodesk, the Autodesk Steel Connections 2020, which you can use with the Dynamo player. So let's see an example of that. We go to Revit, but I have to switch here to Revit. Let's go to structural samples. So this is a structure with steel members. The new feature is this. If you go to Dynamo Player, there is a new package. Before you can use it, you need to configure the path for the package, and you need to load some connections before you can use this. So let me go back to PowerPoint. So this one is using flange hunch beam to column connection. So let's use that. Let's go back to Revit and let's select flange hunch. To use this, you make a selection. Let's suppose that you click on all these members. This comes with settings. It says column families, any column family, any beam family, etc. And then from here you can select the connections that you have loaded before. So let's suppose that we use, let me see, cable end connection. Let's say flange plates. We'll try this. Refresh, select. And play. So the script finds, let's see. Okay, based on the item that I selected, of course, I might have selected a element that doesn't apply in this case, but that was what the script did. It found connections between beams and columns and put the correspondent connector type that I chose for that connection. So it's something that you can explore because it's a complete package of Dynamo routines for you to use. The other related new feature, not related to Dynamo, is propagate connection. This one, in which once you place a connector, you can ask Revit to find similar conditions and apply the same connector. For example, if we go to Revit and we click on this column, we go to structure, connection, and from here we find base plate. So we have just put one base plate in one of the columns, right? So, but I have all these other columns, assuming that I need the same base plates for all the other similar conditions. Now I have this new feature. Click on the connector base plate, and this is the new tool, propagate connection. So when you click on that, for all the other connections, you will see the same base plate, see? Without having to do that one by one. Now it propagates the same connection. Okay, so that's the other new feature. Let's go back to PowerPoint. And then let's go to architectural features. This is the path of travel tool. This is a feature that was requested a long time ago because up to this point, we have been using line-based detail families or line-based model families or railings to do the path of evacuation or egress travel. So now let's see what we have with this new feature. Let's go to Revit. Let me see, this is the architectural sample. Okay, so instead of using families or railings, how about if we have tool to do this. Let me see. That new tool is in the Analyze tab, and this is the new tool, Path of Travel. And there is a dialog box here called Route Analysis, where you can put some configurations for this. Let's see how this works. By default, it comes with doors selected as the only category that is not an obstacle for the path of travel. Everything else is an obstacle. So we're saying, well, I have floors here, but I'll tell you why I had to put floors. It comes like this out of the factory, Autodesk, only doors. But I had an issue with that, and I found the solution by selecting floors as well. So let's click OK to this. Suppose I want to indicate the distance from this room to the nearest exit, which is this door. Then I go to Path of Travel. Notice here the new tool, Tag on Placement. I can leave it on or off. Let's leave it on. And then I say from this corner to this door. And that is the path of travel. And notice, because I selected the tag on placement, now I have the distance and the time based on some speed that is configured here by default. So that is okay. That works fine. Let's try another one. Let's try, for example, analyze path of travel. Let's say from this room to the nearest exit, which is this one. Here is where I had issues with this. See that? I got this error message and I wondered why. Why does it not want to cross that door? And I found that the floor is the problem. So somehow we need to say the floor needs to be included in that list. Otherwise, the tool considers the boundary of the floor to be something that cannot be crossed, cannot be passed. So I go to my route analysis and I say, you know what, floors. I want to include floors in that list. And now let me try again. Path of travel from here to this exit. And ta-da, there you go. Okay, so this one works fine. And based on that, I can estimate which exit is the nearest from 2 points. For example, if I have this exit and I have, let's say, this room, which exit is closer to me from instruction, this one or this one? Let's see, path of travel from here to this door. There you go, that's 134 feet. And from here to this door, that is 125 feet. So this one is shorter. All these path of travel can be scheduled so that you can use that all these parameters in schedules as well. And you can configure the presentation of the line in VG, basically in visibility graphics. Okay, that's path of travel. Zoom tool in schedule views. This one is easy. This one is, if you go to any schedules such as furniture schedule. Now you can do control click and the wheel, and then you can zoom into the schedule like this. The zoom factor is here in the lower right corner of the screen. So this is a very good tool because sometimes the default settings are too small. So that's a good feature. This one, insert PDFs. This is also a nice feature to have. Let's try this. We go to Revit, go to the floor plan, and no, let's create a legend. Let's go to View Legends, legend number 2. And suppose I want to insert a PDF here. Now I go to Insert, PDF, and this is my sample PDF file. Open. If the document has pages, I can see the pages here. Look at that. That's very nice. So I can choose which page I want to insert in my document, in my Revit file. Suppose I want that page number 1. I click on my PDF on the screen, and now I have the PDF in my legend. I chose legend because the new feature, or the other feature, is that we can copy paste legend views to multiple sheets. So how about if that legend number 2 that we created, suppose I have this sheet, but let's create another sheet. Let's say same. Let's create another sheet. Now I have 4 sheets, and let's go to the floor plan sheet, and let's put our legend 2 into this sheet. I go to this, and I put my legend right there, right? But what if this is a legend that I want to have in multiple sheets? Well, I can do click on the legend, copy to clipboard, paste, aligned to selected views, and from here I can select other sheets. Let's say sheet 2, 3, and 4, and click OK. Once I do that, if I go to sections, the legend is there at the same location all the time. So I think that is a nice feature that saves time. If you decide to, suppose you are in a floor plan and you want to insert that same PDF again, you can go to manage images, click on the PDF that you already loaded, and use place instance to place another instance of the PDF on this drawing. Also, if you use this new tool, enable snaps, you could pick lines from lines of the PDF, right? You could do, let's say, annotate, detail line, pick lines, and notice that I can click on those lines from the PDF. Use this with caution because it could be, of course, not very precise because it comes from an image. But notice that, yes, you can pick lines from the PDF. Of course, you can do that with walls as well. Let's go back to PowerPoint. Let's see what else. We did that. We did this. This is another feature. You can now save as cloud model models that don't have worksets can be saved directly to a website to the BIM 360 site. Of course, you need to have proper you need to be invited to the project and all that. But yes, now you can do save as cloud model. So that is another nice feature to have. Let me see, cloud model. Okay, I think it's time for questions, Raquel and Sandra.
Yes, and we have a couple of interesting questions here. Uh, One of them is if furniture families are added, will the travel path know to go around this?
Yes, let's see. If I don't know if this has, let me see, furniture. Let's go to VG and let's activate furniture. Yeah, furniture was off. So I'm going to add the furniture to see it. So now I have the furniture. And then I need to go to analyze route analysis and include furniture as another category that should be considered an obstacle, right? Furniture. Click OK. I can click on the path and there is an update button here. Update paths of travel. Let me see. This one didn't update. Let me do this again. Let's do path of travel. Let's do this again. From here, obviously it's going to have to go through all these things. Let's go to this door. Ah, probably. Let me see. Probably it's because of the change I did with the path. Let me see. Path of travel, route analysis. We try this. Floors. Let me try again. Path of travel from here to here. This one is not working as expected for some reason, but the answer to the question is yes. But let me please let us your email address, and I will reply to you explaining why this one didn't work as expected and finding a solution. But it does work. I don't know why it went through the furniture in this way. Probably because this is a group, maybe. Yeah, but it works because that's one of the one. There is a demonstration about that in the sample the information about the new features. So the answer is yes. Is there any
Okay.
other question?
Yeah, we do have his email address, so we can provide it to you so that
Yes,
you can answer.
I'll reply to him. Yeah.
Yeah, he also has another question. I don't know if it's related to this one. It is, can travel path be customized to do straight lines opposed to diagonal?
I have not seen that option. The only customization I have seen is the line weight, color, line style, and those things. If you, but you can do in that case if you don't want diagonals to be. You could do it manually also. Of course, it is more clicks, but you could do, for example, from here to here, and then you could do it like this. If you don't want this to do diagonals, you could try this, right?
Okay. All right. So he wants to know, do you need to uncheck the furniture for this to work or ungroup it?
And no, I think we want the furniture to be considered an obstacle, right? That would be the logical thing to do. If we want the path of travel to go around the furniture, this needs to be included in the list of obstacles. Let me see. In addition, do not consider these motor categories as obstacles. Do not consider this. Let me see. Let me try. Of course, this is a new feature, and I am getting used to it anyway. Let's try again. Path of travel from here to here. Ah, yeah, this time it worked. See, we're learning. We're
We're learning
learning how to
together.
use this new tool. Yeah. So bottom line is, it should not be included in that list.
Okay.
Okay. Any
All
other
right.
questions?
Yes. Does the travel path tool connect between levels?
No. It's only for floor plans. It doesn't go up stairs or ramps. And when you go to a section, because I tried that, the tool is not even active. Look at this. If I go to a section, the tool is grayed out. Okay, so I think it's perfect for egress plans, basically. Yeah.
All right. So the same person that was asking that, he says, then we would be better off with railings. So that's a Revit joke.
Now that we have the tool, we're going back to railings.
What do
No,
you
I
think
think
about that?
I think we should spend some time trying to use the tool in a real egress plan to see how it works. This is very new. As you can see, I'm getting used uh, to the tool to see how it works. But let's give it a chance, you know.
All right. That's all I have for. Oh, uh, another question I just got. Can be the manual path not being segmented to get a single length? Can the manual path not being segmented to get a single length, I guess? So
This is one single path. This is one single path. Um,
can the manual path not being segmented to get a single length?
oh, you mean this, the one I did manually? I don't know, really, because this is one segment, and this is basically a detailed line behind the curtains. So unless you can do, let me see, let me try trim by corner. No, that doesn't work. Probably the answer is no. You will have individual segments if you do it like this manually. Um, I like the idea of having a tool dedicated to this, because in certain projects, when people do, in absence of a tool, they do this with railings. Sometimes you are doing coordination in Navisworks, and you get to see this object flying all over the place in all the rooms, creating conflicts with in reality should not be a model element. So I like this, and I want to give it a try to see. I think it's eventually should be better than using railings or something else.
Okay, another question, and I think it's related. Can we apply the travel path tool to a sketched line?
All the questions are about the
Travel
travel.
path. The travel path is like the favorite.
So what is the question again?
Can we apply the travel path tool to a sketched line?
I see. I see where they are going. They want to take this and use it as a sketch for a railing, probably.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Let me try. Copy to clipboard. I copied that line. Now let's see. Architecture, railing, sketch path. How about if I do paste or align to current view? Aha, that's the answer. Can't paste elements into sketch. That's the answer. You cannot paste that sketch of the travel path into the sketch of a railing. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, you would need to maybe do something else, such as pick pick lines. Let me see if I can pick this. No, it seems that I cannot pick on the travel path with the pick lines tool. So no, the answer is no.
All right. Next question. We're having a lot of questions. I'm loving it. Okay, so
That's
next
good.
one is, can you snap to PDF line work?
Yes, there is a tool. Um, there is a tool that when you click on the PDF, there is a tool that says enable snaps. So you enable that. I think it's a toggle. Yes, you see now that the tool is blue, it means that it is active. So I should be able to do, let's say, architecture, let's say wall from, see, you see that endpoint? The endpoint of that line in the PDF to this other endpoint in the PDF. Yes, see that?
Mhm.
So the answer is yes.
All right. I saw a comment about the previous question that apply the travel path to the sketch line, and he's saying, no, I meant, can we sketch a path and then convert it into a travel path?
Ah,
So that's a different way to
let's.
say the question. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the answer, unless you do it manually, it's fine. But in the help documents of Revit, I saw how this works, and it's really some behind the curtains is a complicated process of finding this room, creating a grid of very small rectangles, dividing all the area of the room, then finding which rectangles are not blocked by an obstacle, and then finding the best possible route. So I don't think that if you intentionally draw something, you can tell the path to go to follow this, unless you intentionally do it in that way, in the same way I did this one, right? Like analyze path of travel. Notice that the pick line is not active anywhere. So I have to simply follow the line that I created. That would be the only solution, right?
Mhm. Okay. And I have another
Ah,
question
but
for
but, but did you see that? Did you see that? Even if I pick that line, that point, this thing tries to go only through the doors, of course, right? Because is behind the curtains is doing that algorithm about obstacles and openings.
Hmm.
Yeah. What is the other question, Raquel?
Yeah, I think we have time only for this last question, and the other ones we can answer in writing. For electrical, can you
Yeah.
configure a three-way switch?
I think the answer to that is no, and not because I am an expert on that topic, but because somebody who is a friend of mine and is an expert on this, he had told me that Revit cannot do that yet. And since I didn't see that in the new features, I don't think there has been an improvement on that. However, please leave us your email address and I'll find information about the latest and greatest on this topic and I will reply to you.
Okay, thank you, Alfredo. I guess that this is all for us. It's the top of the hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for this presentation. I hope that you learned a lot. Let us know your questions at any time. You can email us or call us at 305-445-6480, and you have the information there at info@ddscat.com. Again, thank you so much, Alfredo, for a great presentation as usual, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.